Have you ever heard about a Playdate? It's a tiny little console designed to evoke the feelings of certain little handhelds from a more classic age. It was released in 2022 by Panic Inc. Perhaps you've heard of it, but aren't sure if it's worth it, what games there are and which of them are good or must-haves. Well, if you already own the Playdate, but in light of the gigantic catalog of exclusive games and upcoming releases, you just don't know where to even start anymore. That is why I present to you Cranko, a fan-made printed magazine covering all things about the Playdate. I found out about Cranko while in the very same predicament that I was just talking about. I was scouring the Playdate subreddit for new things to play when I came across a post advertising this magazine. I was immediately mesmerized and I just had to have it. Since the Playdate itself doesn't have the biggest consumer base and a fan-made printed magazine probably only is a fraction of it, I decided to cover the magazines in this video with looks inside of the pages. Also, I should point out for full transparency that I did write for the upcoming issues number 6 and 7, but I am in no way profiting monetarily from the sales of the magazine. Regardless, I said that if you're interested in what I have to say about some new releases for the Playdate, you should definitely check out the upcoming issues on the website linked below. Anyway, enjoy the video. This is it, the Cranko magazine for the Playdate, as you might know if you've seen the video so far. These are the 3 issues that I have, issues 3, 4 and 5. Issues 1 and 2 are sadly out of print already. But I just wanted to talk about how I think that this is a really cool project, and yeah. By this time this video comes out, issue 6 should be on the horizon already. And if I've not mentioned this yet, I will have a starring role? No. Some reviews of mine will be in the next issue. TP. I thought it might be interesting to take a look at it, because it's a little underground. But I think if you like the Playdate, these magazines are super cool to have. Sadly, I don't have issues 1 and 2. Issue 5 just came out February 2026, with issue 6 being on the way. And yeah, I thought we might take a look at it, take a quick run through of the magazine, and yeah, I hope it might catch your attention. How do you read? As many of you know, this month's been a proper madhouse, part deadline sprint for this new issue, part happy shock at how warmly you've embraced this ambitious passion project. Yeah, I can empathize to that. This is I feel like he's talking about me. I have some of these issues. Pro Otaku. They make like retro games, or make news on retro games on old systems, or new games on retro systems, like that. I've gone through these through the magazines before a bit, but I immediately thought I shouldn't read through everything because this might make for a cool kind of video, and I wanted to do more of these. So I kind of stopped reading through them at first. Red Terror, I have this game. It's a Wolfenstein clone, and I didn't play it very far because I kind of thought it's a bit one note, but that's okay. I thought it looked really interesting. It's like Wolfenstein, but not Nazis, but communists. But it was a 3D game. It's like it is like Wolfenstein. It has like those 3D, well, like not 3D, but you know those planes that go into the background and stuff. Those very early kinds of 3D. Another interesting dilemma is when making a 1-bit 3D game is that, well, it's 1-bit. 3D games need to scale graphics depending on how far away they are from the player. Yep, and I think that the game did that pretty well. You could play it very, like it plays like Wolfenstein, and it looks like Wolfenstein, and it's quite obviously based on Wolfenstein. I'm pretty sure this poster here is a rendition of a Wolfenstein artwork. I just thought I don't really like Wolfenstein either. I think Doom is like the first one of those early shooters that are decent, but it was a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing to have. Elven Forest. When asked what inspired him to create Elven Forest, he said, mainly my lack of free time. This idea came to me whilst playing Dark Fortress, one of the main sources of inspiration for Elven Forest, as you can probably tell by the name. Yeah, I mean, pretty obvious. I realized pretty soon that no amount of effort could turn Dwarf Fortress into an idle game, but that idea stuck with me for some time. Idle games are a common genre of choices for those without much time to take into gaming. Elven Forest is a god game where you create and direct a colony of elves, but incorporates elements of the idle genre by making all basic actions take real world time to complete. Without any redirection, you are left to take care of the elves in the forest, which was prioritized determines your ending. So common fighting games have an ending, more often than not they allow you to continue on and on forever, but even forces multiple endings which vary how much you care for the environment. That sounds pretty cool. Probably like if you make more factories or something to get more money to buy more stuff, but then you get a worse ending or something because you have to make the forest worse. That's pretty cool. It's only $4 on Kellogg. I'm telling you, this Void Blazers, we played that video should maybe already be out. I think that should be out by the time this video comes out. Maybe not quite, but that was pretty cool. It's like other pictures here. No, it's just a shoot 'em up, like Galaga or something, but with like a story and some upgrades, some permanent upgrade elements. No, actually, I don't think you upgraded the ship. It was just stuff you could buy for like the gallery. But still, it was pretty cool. Had a story and a backstory, like a whole gallery with like character bios and everything. That was pretty cool. There was parts, I don't know if they say that here, but they recently released this in a pack called the Cosmic Collection, which I don't know if that's still a thing that's out there to purchase, but they like I think that's 4 different developers. I think they put like 4 different space themed games together in a bundle. And I bought that, and we're gonna cover the whole bundle in the year of the Playdate. Win a copy of Void Blazers. Yo. Yeah, I think they said that on the cover. Win a copy of Void Blazers, yes. That's super cool. Like this is like an actual magazine you would buy at the store. Also, that's my ring light HP. Cherry Hill. Resprung. This was honestly one of my favorite games we played so far. Really reminded me of Happy Wheels and things like that. As a kid, Flash games were it's a Flash game. It feels like a Flash game you would play on the internet on Newgrounds or whatever in like 2011, something like that. I played through it after the video was over. I continued it until the end, and the last few levels weren't like too difficult, but not a joke either. And I really liked the design of the magazine, the colors and like art and stuff. It feels really high quality. That's pretty cool. There's more stuff about Respawn. You brought up the golden age of browser games and the memories they sparked. Besides Elastomania, would you say that era of online gaming left a mark on your creative development? I liked Line Rider from that era. Respawn's hardest level, Roller Coaster, was actually envisioned to be easiest, an auto level. I'm not talking about Happy Wheels. That was like the first thing I was thinking of when you play the biker on Happy Wheels. Hands off. Let gravity drag you to the finish line. Same story for the last level actually. I spent many hours tweaking the level and physics just so it would work on my laptop. To my dismay, it turned out that physics worked ever so slightly differently on real hardware. A butterfly effect would mean the difference between landing a jump on the PC simulator and smacking into the ground on the device. Could not bear throwing that much work away. I had to regret it and I want to apologize to everyone who rage quit on Roller Coaster. That was not an easy level. That was the most difficult level. Was that the final level? I think that was somewhere around the final level. Yeah, I remember that one. But that was really cool too. Once you finally know how to properly play it. They only had like 20, 25 levels, something like that. Does that say that here maybe? Something like that. But all of them there were different gimmicks, gravity gimmicks and everything. A few different set pieces. That was really cool. Like, I really like the art design. That was a really good game. This, from the games we've seen so far in this particular issue, I think Respawn was my favorite from the ones I played. I haven't played most of them actually. The Playdate has a very, very big catalog, and most of them are exclusive. That's super crazy to me that there's a whole console out there with a fan base and publishers. I mean, most of it self-published, but still. And so many great, like it's not like a gimmicky console with only gimmicky games. There's a lot of gimmicky games, but just so many games that are just genuine, great experiences. Roguelikes, some platformer stuff, and other stuff, you know, like a Wolfenstein kind of game, and some jokey games, and whatever else there was. And that's just this issue. And so many people just don't know about it. That's crazy to me. I think the Playdate really deserves being much bigger. And I like that the magazine, although I'm pretty sure that most of the audience of this magazine are probably people that already have the Playdate. I really like the idea of just pushing more of these games out there with this magazine. That's just such a cool idea. And this is, as I said, entirely, at least to my knowledge, entirely separate from Panic, the Playdate studio, and just self-published. I think self-published by one person, maybe not quite one person, but I assume a very small team at the very least, and some guest people that review Pulp Lab. My name is Ollie from Pixel, and for the next few weeks I will be imparting of what I know about Pulp for Playdate for you fine readers. Before Pulp was released, I didn't know my variable from my function. Was Pulp Pulp is the perfect tool for newcomers as it contains tools to create rooms, sprites, music, sounds and code, everything together as simply or complexly as your heart desires. It's a game making tool. And I did see that in the next issues as well, when I was just kind of going through them. There were other Pulp Labs here as well. This is a game making tutorial across multiple issues. That's really cool. I remember magazines having these kinds of things as well, that they were split up in multiple parts. That's very cool. If you want to learn how to create games for the Playdate. Now I have released 10 games using Pulp and made a few dollars in the process. GP. That's super cool, and not exactly for me, and I'm not gonna read it out in this video, but some things on how to like do things. Not exactly a game developer. In the next issue, the Random Encounter crew unpacks every last detail of the roguelike survivor Armada, the beginning of a controversy for players. Good game. They're lesbians. I would really recommend following and supporting this magazine if you are actively using a Playdate, as it really is pulling the community together like nothing else. Put multiple projects on my radar that I hadn't heard of before, and it's great to see games both big and small being represented here. One thing I had neglected to mention so far is that some of the magazines also come with walkthroughs in the form of posters. Issues 3 and 5 respectively came with posters for Spooky Squad and The Aura that show the layout of the levels, which is just really cool to have if you're a fan of the game. I personally haven't played those games yet, so I can't really do much with them yet, but both games look interesting enough that I think I'll look into them in the future. And I think having these little posters then is going to be really cool. It's nice to have these little extras, because that just makes the magazine feel much more like a professional quality magazine. But the scale of the magazine only went further from here. Let's check out issue number 4. And on to issue 4. And they're gonna cover Atlantic 41, which is a game that's been in development for ages now. Still hasn't come out, and this issue came out in December 2025. So not too long ago. Into deepest depths on the Switch. Hello again, dear Crankers, welcome to this winter special. A marathon-sized issue to help us wrap up the year on a high note. No fewer than 15 interviews. Interview, winner digicopy. Oh, what can we win in this? What can we win is winner digicopy of Squid God's Lure for Game Dev book. That one. The one whose page we were just on. If you want a clean approach to entry to Lure. I think Lure is the one that most people use for Playdate. I think, maybe, I think so. The Moors are Friends. I played this one. Or at least I tested this one. Not sure if this will be in the year of the Playdate, because I already got a list for every day in the year of the Playdate. But that was a cool game. I think I'll keep it on the back burner in case some other game doesn't quite fit into the year of the Playdate. That was pretty cool. You play the moon and you have to like use gravity to divert meteors and stuff. From what I can tell, there were like more things going on. Like levels and some story maybe. As she told us, the game developer I assume, Paige Hooten. I love games that require precision cranking, so the first thing I thought of was a game where you cranked the moon around the Earth. I had a bit of an aha moment realizing the moon could dodge meteors while also protecting Earth from them with its gravity. Cool game. Atlantic 41, that's probably the standout thing of this issue. That's why it's on the cover. And covers a few pages. Holy shit. This has been announced, I feel like ages ago. It's like a World War II submarine simulator, which is crazy to have on the Playdate with 2 buttons, a D-pad, and a crank. I don't know. This is probably, I assume probably, a very interesting interview that I can only recommend, because this game looks like one of the most ambitious ones on the Playdate. Definitely. It's very technical about like developing obviously about the development, but like a lot of it is about about the historical accuracy and some in-depth things into the actual development of like lore and stuff. This is really cool. But if you wanna read it yourself, you can buy the Cranko magazine, issue number 4. This is a game I was really excited for, and still am. It's a Terraria thing, but with levels and boss fights. This looks like this I'm really excited for, but as of right now, as of my list for the year of the Playdate, I'm only gonna play it later into the year, which is a bit sad. But this looks like one of the coolest games ever. Another interview with the developer. The following work comes from a good friend around here. Undeniably a true titan on this platform's developer's podium, with no fewer than 12 games published so far. Henry Hark. This time Henry steps out of his comfort zone and dives in until the sand reaches his neck with a full sandbox packed with secrets and levels to uncover. From what we've played in an exclusive demo, this Terraria-style adventure also draws on doses of puzzle and strategy that have long been the author's trademark. First rough gameplay concept was in June 24th, 2025, which isn't that long ago. I mean, 6 months for like a game up until when this issue released. I mean, 5 months. Depending if this is his daytime job or not, but yeah. Shadow Wilds is scheduled for release on catalog January 20th. Yep, that sounds about right. It's definitely out by this point. I really wanna play it, but I think my outdoors themed month is in like summer, or fall. But it looks to me like Terraria, just a bit different, and it just looks super cool. Fauna, we played this one. I think that should be out by this one as well. Maybe. I'm not actually sure. A motion comic, which is also a pretty cool thing to just have. What we would consider an evolutionary step after the acclaimed The Botanist, Captain Batrick promises us an interactive adventure of a futuristic nature where humans and animals can communicate with each other thanks to a disruptive technology coveted by all sectors of power, including non-humans. In a story full of branches and divergent possibilities with playthroughs that promise not to exceed 20 minutes, we will play as a hacker duo made of June and Polly. Will go on sale early next year. Yep, that's also, I think it came out in February. I think that was a very new release when I bought it. Owl's Embrace, so Metroidvania. That's the second owl-based Metroidvania I know about. There's some other one called Old Boy that I also didn't play. But this one hasn't come out yet. An early prototype existed in 2023. Throughout 2023 and 2024 it was mostly focused on building the engine, well before the themes or setting were even clear. A Fool's Errand, that one was very popular. At least from what I can tell, it's like a sort of like the Playdate subreddit and stuff. What's really cool about it is that you have to hold your Playdate sideways, so it's upright. That's pretty cool. I did play it for like 5 minutes, if even 2 minutes, just to test it out. I don't think this would be in the year of the Playdate because I wouldn't know how to I mean, I guess I can just rotate the captured footage 90 degrees, but it's a cool game. You just crank, and by that the guy walks up the stairs, and then there's stuff coming your way. A Fool's Errand probably took around 3 months effective time. A previous game, Grand Tour Legends. Oh, it's from the guys that make Grand Tour Legends. That was a very early game on the Playdate. I think. Quite early. And here's the next part of the problem. GP. The Shape That Waits. We'll also play that on the Year of the Playdate in October, because that's a spooky month. Issue number 4 was great in my opinion. I really wanted to make this video because I got more and more enamored with the Playdate in the past few weeks, and the Cranko magazine is probably the pinnacle of community projects in my opinion. If you want to be a part of it, you can easily write the team behind the project over the information on the website. One question I wanted to answer with this video is whether or not the Playdate itself is worth it in my opinion. And if it's not clear enough by this point, I'll most definitely say right now, yes it is. The idea and execution of essentially a Game Boy but with an exclusive hardware gimmick in form of a crank is absolutely novel. The ever-expanding catalog of exclusive games with often creative, in-depth experiences that can only vaguely be recreated on other devices is undeniably fantastic. So many games with so many more always on the horizon that sadly so many people don't know about. That is why I put in the effort supporting this magazine and I played it itself, because I genuinely think these projects deserve some spotlight as well. But we got one more issue to cover, so on we go. Time for the final issue, February 2026, very recent, so I will not show very much of it, I guess. Super Agents, buy on catalog. I like these really remind me of, oh, this one doesn't have that, but these really remind me of like old Mickey Mouse magazines and stuff. Welcome to the first issue of 2026, the year Denise's and the came into springing. Whoa. On another note, as we hinted a few months back, this is absolutely shaping up to be the year of the Playdate. That's what I call my video series, oh my god. One brain cell, holy shit. If the Playdate has AAA games, the Eura's page on the Playdate store bears all the hallmarks of one. Oh yeah, and finally a $15 price tag. That makes it one of the most expensive games, yeah. Most games on the Playdate were at least single digit for the longest time. And now suddenly in 2026, like I think 2 games or something kind of released quite close to each other, both with $15. Which I think from what the Eura looks like, it's probably worth it. It looks like a game that with a bit more color would also release on Steam. From what it looks like, I haven't played it yet. But most games were usually on the smaller side, even if they were pretty good experiences. So which is probably still fair considering the Playdate as a console, with like 1 bit and 2 buttons and stuff. No backlight. Nowadays you probably wouldn't really want to spend like $20 on a game for that console, which is probably why most of them are on the smaller side, both content and price wise. That's pretty cool. Like you have the Playdate specific magazine, the catalog where you can buy games both on the console and on the web. But there's also a pretty huge market. I don't know if you call it a market, but a pretty big space on itch. You know itch.io, the new Flash games, I guess. Like the storefront with bunch of small games to download, some fan games for other franchises. I got some Sonic fan games from itch, I think, last year on the Sonic fan game series. And it also has a pretty big market for the Playdate. Some also cost stuff there, but a lot of free games for the Playdate on itch. Yeah, and that was issue 4. There's a lot of stuff in this issue, but we're skipping most of it because it's a very new release, so I don't want to spoil too much of it. And Cultivator, get it on Playdate. TP. That also is featured in this issue. So yeah, that's the Cranko magazines that I have. Not issue 1 and 2, they're not in print anymore at this point. I'm hoping I can get my hands on the first 2 issues as well, just for OCD purposes. Yeah, really cool project, especially considering it's fan-made. I'm pretty sure non-profit. In fact, I can't imagine what it costs to pull all of this together and then print and everything, at least like of your free time. I feel like the hourly wage here for the people I think is probably not the best, but it's fan-made, just for the community. Probably doesn't have a big base for people that don't already have the Playdate, which is a bit sad because this is exactly what those people would... I feel like this could sell the Playdate as a console quite well, and I'm making this video in hopes to push something like this out there more in some capacity. My channel isn't the biggest, but maybe this will, maybe the sales of at least the Playdate or the magazine, maybe both, go up by maybe 0.5%, maybe at most, because of this video. That might be nice. I wrote the people that made this magazine, which you can, they have their email scattered all through the magazine and on Reddit and on the website, I'm pretty sure, that if you want a review for this magazine, if you want your review published in this magazine, just write them. And that's exactly what I did. And issue number 6, which will come out, I don't know, seems to be about bi-monthly, so April, I guess, will have some reviews written by yours truly in it. So if you want to see what I have to say about some Playdate games that I have not covered in the Year of the Playdate, yeah, buy the next issue. I assume it comes out in April. That it seems to be about bi-monthly. So yeah, and I'm really excited because I genuinely think my reviews were decent. Not I don't know if you can win prizes for reviews, but mine probably didn't. But I think they turned out well. I hope that is some nice some nice things you can get out of them if you read them. And if you want to see what else I have to say about Playdate games, check out my video series, Year of the Playdate. But more importantly, check out this magazine. It's really cool, and support it for more issues to be published, because I don't think we want to miss out on these as the Playdate community. I think that's one of the coolest projects that have come out of it, apart from, the games.
Thank you for watching. Special thanks to the people at Cranknockout Publishing for giving me permission to make this video, and I wish them all the best on their future endeavors. If you want to check out the coming issues and are interested in what I have to say about the selection of Playdate games, the link to the website is in the description below. If you want to support me and my endeavors, you can like and subscribe. Also, please let me know what you think of this video in the comment section below. The setup was mostly improvised with random devices I happen to have lying around, but I mean, as long as it works, right?